to do something big like this, you have to start small. And for any startup, I would say there is a personal experience it starts with. Every idea, could be great, but every idea uh, couldn't be monetized. What is your product market fit? Does the industry really needs your product? You need to be smart enough to identify the right people who can really guide you, because somebody can really trash your idea. If you really are convinced about your idea, you should not get demotivated. You have to be very well prepared with your research, your analysis, and at the same time, your passion and the conviction. Without that, nothing can really transmit that, so I think you have to be very, very confident in your idea. My advice to all the founders and entrepreneurs are: be ready to hear no. It will demotivate you. Uh, so one day you would be on cloud nine, one day you will be at the bottom of the sea. So you be ready for that kind of an roller coaster ride. And behind every bigger risk, you get the bigger rewards. Let people fail as well, right? Unless and until you give them an opportunity to prove themselves, they are not going to basically straight themselves up. I think the most important strategy that is working in our case is ethics, honesty, and integrity. The moment that you think that your product is complete and you are done, you are done. A CEO's job, I think, is identifying the right people.
Welcome to What's Up Pro once again. Today we have an exceptional guest who is at the forefront of the innovation in insurance industry. Joining us today, the CEO of Claim Genius, a company revolutionizing the claims process with cutting-edge AI technology. Our guest has transformed the way claims are handled, making the process faster, more efficient, and incredibly accurate. We are excited to hear about his journey, the challenges he faced, and the future of AI in the insurance industry. Please welcome Mr. Raj Pofale. So, welcome Raj. What's up, Pro? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you, Gayatri?
Good, doing good. Thank you so much for taking time out and talking to us.
No, absolutely. I mean, thanks for giving the opportunity to talk on your channel.
Absolutely.
It's my pleasure.
So, Claim Genius, tell us more about it.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. So let me give you a little bit of an background about myself, and then I'll dive into what Claim Genius is and how I started the journey. Right? It's a quite an exciting journey. I must say. So obviously, I born and brought up in India, of course, right? And came into this country in '97. Started as a technology developer, but right from the beginning, there is that. Uh, Entrepreneurial kind of a nature that I have. So I'm like always looking for, hey, what more I can do than what I do. But obviously, to do something big like this, you have to start small, and that's what I did a couple of years back. I started obviously as a technology developer, stepped up the ladder into the managements, and I think that is something I love to manage, build, and lead the teams. And so after gathering enough kind of an experience through last 20 plus years, I was looking for something to disrupt India, disrupt some of these industries. I mean, I have to say, in a way, that disrupting India insurance market is a true, and that's what we are also doing. So, and for any startup, I would say there is a personal experience it starts with, right? So in 2017, 2018, there was a accident. I mean, my wife went through an accident, and while getting her car repaired and fixed and getting that claim settled, it was quite a frustrating journey. It took almost like 6 weeks uh, just to get the estimate for that vehicle, and several follow-ups with the claims people. I think back then I don't remember the insurance company's name, but it was quite frustrating journey. And that kind of triggered an idea about why it is so painful just to get the estimates for the vehicle and get it repaired and get the claim settled. And insurance company, how much money they are paying for it, right? Because they're not just settling the claim or paying you for repairing that vehicle. They're giving you the rental cars. Your car is getting into the garage, getting stored in there for a couple of days. Some surveyor comes and then inspect your car or do the assessment on the car. So beside the repair estimate, insurance companies paying so much of an extra, almost like $300 $400 extra, depending upon again how severe the accident is. So that kind of triggered this initial idea about, hey, how cool it would be just by taking the pictures or the video of the vehicle, and if we can generate the estimate right at a snap of a finger, how fast this claim settlement can work and how much money and time insurance companies can save, and at the same time the end consumer, how good digital experience they can get, right? So that was a kind of a basic idea that I started Claim Genius in 2019, so about 5 years now.
Wow, nice. So what are the like initial steps that you took to convert this idea into reality?
Right. So basically, every idea, could be great, but every idea couldn't be monetized. So very first thing, initial thing that you need to do, or for example, any founder, they need to do is to validate their idea or concept with the market, right? What is your product market fit? Does the industry really needs your product, right? Are you really going to add any value for any of the industry that you're working for, right? So the very first step of my journey obviously was to basically get my idea validated by some of the experts in the industry, and also not only getting that product fitment, but at the same time you have to do some market research as well, right? How big that opportunity is, how big the market it is, and if you are disrupting that market with your idea, with your technology, right? The industry definitely is going to get benefited, but how much benefit that you are going to take, right? If you are just adding a dent into their benefits, it's not going to be. When you are significantly, when you say disrupting the market, right, you are basically usually saving them huge amount of money and the time.
Right.
So with, just to give you a little bit of an idea about our opportunity, right? So there are about 1.43 billion vehicles all across the globe, right? And every year, this is increasing by the volume of the vehicles are increasing by about 5 to 8% year to year.
Wow.
And pretty much all these car goes through the inspection at some time in the life cycle of that vehicle, right? Insurance claims are the largest out of that. But beside insurance company, when you are selling the car, right, used car dealers, they want to do the assessment on the vehicle before they put a right price tag on that, right? The rental car companies, when you're checking in and checking out, they want to know whether that, who is liable for the damages that has been caused while the cars were rented out, right? Fleet management company, when they are transporting. So basically, the point that I'm trying to tell you is the market opportunity should be huge. It needs to be validated by the market leaders. And then you should be able to basically articulate the benefits that you are really bringing to the table. So, for example, right, uh, with the manual inspection that happens today, it takes a couple of days. Again, it depends on the severity of the accident, right, or the damages. It takes a couple of days, couple of weeks in some cases, and still you are not able to get the kind of an estimates that you want, right? So then that's where they are spending money. Now, when we are basically bringing our AI technology, where we are analyzing the pictures and then coming up with all these estimates, we are resulting into about 57% of the cost savings,
Wow.
which is huge,
Huge.
right? At the same time, the cycle time that is happening right now in manual estimates or settlements, it takes about 6 to 7 weeks. We are bringing that settlement cycle time to literally 7 days. In some cases, it is coming to literally few hours. So when you are basically significantly, bringing this kind of a business benefit, that's when the industry actually, adopt your technology, right? And that's what you need to do. So as a founder, you need to basically check couple of things, identify, the markets where you are going to disrupt it, analyze the overall kind of benefits that you are bringing to the industry, get the product market fit, and time to market is very important.
Mm.
It could be idea could be 10 years before, and I'll tell you my another idea. So before Zomato, now Zomato and Swiggy and everybody is there, but 15 years back I had come up with this kind of an idea that, hey, bring all the Uberize the kitchen basically, right? So that was way ahead of the time, so obviously that didn't work. But in case of Claim Genius, it came at the right time, right moment, because the AI technology is now kind of an evolving. So back when we started in 2019, that was a time when the cloud infrastructure has improved, the computing powers have improved, and everything. And that's when, we said, hey, this is a right time, right idea, right disruptor, right product market fit. So let's go for it. So that's what you need to do as a founder.
Nice. Wow. That's a lot of research and a lot of.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So when you say validate, you have to validate. How do you actually validate? Like how do you find people to, like, whom to talk, how to talk, like what to ask questions while validating?
Right. So obviously, you need to know a couple of people in the industry, or you need to find people through your networks when you are basically trying to validate some idea. So in my case, I would tell you, right. Throughout my career, I was in a fintech industry, right? I was working for the investment banks, heading NASDAQ as a technology head and all that stuff, right? So I was always in the investment banks. I had no connect into the insurance industry. But as I told you earlier, that I always have that zeal to do something different. While I was working with these investment banks, I was still on the side as a gig. I was kind of doing a side business, you can call that, and through that I had automated, and this is again 12, 13 years back, maybe more than that, 2009, 2010, I had automated a total loss, vehicles workflow by introducing the image captures and all that back then. So I had a little bit of an idea about these damaged vehicles, but still I did not have any insurance industry connect. So obviously I had to tap into some. I obviously tapped into India market through for network, some of the people in here, uh, saying that, hey, this is a kind of an idea. Do you know any people in the insurance industry? And people are kind enough, I mean, to connect you with certain, experts in the industry. And that's how I kind of navigated through my network, through the social media, through LinkedIn, through some of the friends and professional colleagues in the industry, and that's how you navigate. You find these people, you bounce your ideas. Of course, you don't need to share the secret sauce. At a high level, that trust you have to be there. Otherwise, somebody may steal your idea as well at the beginning days. So you need to be smart enough to identify the right people who can really guide you, because somebody can really trash your idea. And I'll give you. And so you need a very, um, I would say, trustworthy and right people who really can basically guide you into the right direction. And sometimes you can make a mistake as well. So in my case, I'll tell you, I was pitching this idea to some of the one of the industry expert back then, and he's like, "This is rubbish." The as the car itself is a very complex animal, so to call. right? Thousands of parts. How are you going to basically get every single, replace, repair decisions on that car, right? So he kind of trashed it. So you don't need to get demotivated. If you really are convinced about your idea, you should not get demotivated. When you speak to about, say, 30, 40 people, and if everybody says this is a trash idea, then that's a different story. But only one or two, if they're, about 80, 90% people are telling you that, hey, there is a potential in this, you should trust your idea, your concept, and then go for it.
Yeah. So when you're talking, were you not scared of like somebody will steal your idea, somebody will do it without your knowledge already?
Uh, no, yes and no. I won't lie, but at the same time, I knew that what are the barrier to the entry, because you need to know that how easy it is for anybody else to enter into that field.
Mm.
So in our case, you need a huge amount of data, right? Because it's an AI technology, which is the data intensive technology. You need millions and millions of images, millions and millions of data points so that you can basically train your model. And it is not that easy to get access to all these claims and images and correlation between the image and the estimates and so on and so forth. So I knew my data barriers. And as I told you that way back when, I had automated this, one of the platform which was dealing with the damaged vehicle. So I had access to that data. And obviously, through my network, I had established some of the partnerships where I would have been gotten the data as well. So I knew that anybody, even if anybody will try to basically do it, it's going to be a steep curve for them. They would not get the access to the data that easily that I have. B, the back then, again, 5 years back, the computer vision experts were skill availability is also one of the things, right? And uh, not that many people were there back then. So I knew that there is a huge, barrier to the entry, and that's the reason I was not scared to, share these thoughts with or concept with some of these industry people.
Your groundwork was ready, like even before you start talking about.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely, absolutely. Otherwise, they will trash you like anything,
Yeah,
right? So you have to be very well prepared with your research, your analysis, and at the same time your passion and the conviction. Without that, nothing can really transmit that. So I think you have to be very, very confident in your idea.
yeah, that's true. Confidence is more important.
Yep.
How did you secure funding to start, like for your initial like startup?
I think that's the major roadblock that every startup face, right? So my advice to all the founders and entrepreneurs are, be ready to hear no. Somebody can tell you that your idea is brilliant, but they will say, will only put money when you will reach at this stage or that stage, right? So first you have to basically identify a very, very first thing that you need to do is, before you go to any institutional investors, either bootstrap it, which I did, just to create some prototype, working prototype. If you don't have a fund to bootstrap it, then obviously reach out to the friends and families and foes. Tap into some HNIs, the high net worth individuals, and then share your ideas and potentials and opportunity and returns. How you would be able to basically give them the returns. Once you get that initial funding, which is called a seed funding, there are many angel networks are also there. So basically, a couple of HNIs comes together and they create the fund. They usually put up to, from somewhere anywhere between 100,000 to a million. So you have to basically first again do your research about, in creating the first phase one or version one of the product, how much you would need. And so you have to do all of that research and then tap into these networks. When you'll talk to about, say, 100 people, then 10 people would probably come and say yes, we are interested, they'll come to the table. Out of that, maybe three will come to the end stage where you can basically start negotiations with the terms and conditions and all that. So it's a lengthy process, and it's a very, very painstaking process. It will demotivate you. So one day you would be on cloud nine, one day you will be at the bottom of the sea. So you be ready for that kind of an roller coaster ride. But once you secure that your initial seed funding, you get your first version of the product, you get the product market fit, couple of POCs, proof of concept or pilots that you have under the belt, then you can basically go for the institutional investors and all that. So that's another journey.
That's you need too much of patience for this.
You definitely need a lot of patience to go about it. Yes.
So you actually quit your very good job and jumped into completely new. What
Yes.
what risk factors were you considering while doing
Well, a lot of risk, right? When I started, what I was at 45. I'm revealing my age here, but at that stage of the life, living a highly paid job, head of technology for Nasdaq's one of the big, stock exchange. It's not easy to give up, right? But you have to have that zeal and passion and confidence in yourself that yes, you can do this and you would do this successfully. So obviously, the very first thing that you need to do as an entrepreneur is cut down all the ropes. You should not have any safety net. If you have a safety net, you will be doing your job half-heartedly, and that would not result into anything, right? So neither you will do that better or this better. So the very first thing that you need to do, of course, you need to do the risk assessment. You need to make sure that you have enough to survive at least some time period. You have enough support from your family as well, and you should basically talk to your family as well. So I would say my biggest supporting pillar in is my wife. I discussed this with her. I said, this is the idea, and her accident actually triggered this, right? So I'm like, hey, this is the idea that I'm kind of toying with, and I have already done this. My research, my analysis is ready. I have my validity from the market, and if I want to do this, then you need to basically run the family, and I would be not earning at least next year or two till the time we take it to a certain level, and that's the biggest risk that you need to take, right? But of course you have to take that calculated risk, and behind every bigger risk you get the bigger rewards, right? And that's what it is. I am yet to get the big rewards that I'm looking at, but at least there is a light at the end of the tunnel, I would say.
that's nice. Yeah, I was going to say family is a big support.
It's a big support. Yeah, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
so you quit your job and then what are the next steps that you take? Like take us through the process to start a new open a new company.
No, absolutely. So basically, when I decided to basically go full time about this, right? I decided to do the bootstrapping on it. But you need to. A very important thing is one man cannot do everything. You need to have a good people along with you, who will be sticking to you and who will be sharing the same passion, and they should be a self motivator as well, right? So I identified people. Very first thing, I identified a couple of people, few developers. Of course, I did not hire them on payroll immediately. I did hire developers who I was able to basically bear expenses for. But some of these, my C-level people, I told them that, hey, this is what the idea is. I think you are the right people to fit into this shoes as in CTO, as in CEO or product head. But right now, I'm not going to pay you. I'll probably offer you some sweat equity. Let's conceptualize the idea. Once I get the funding, then I'll tell you when you should leave your job and then join me full time. right? So that's the very first thing. Identify the right people, identify the right technology, identify the I mean, or design the right product version. That is the very first thing that you need to do. Obviously, there are some, I would call that as an administrative formalities. Obviously, you have to register your company. You need to register that in whatever. Usually, all the startups get registered in Delaware, so you need to know the laws and regulations and what are the benefits to start the startup. Should it be a woman-owned company? Should it be LLC, INC, right? Obviously, you need the advisor for that, right? So you need to have some financial advisor, legal advisor. You identify these people. Few people, they work as a pro bono. Few people, they expect something. As soon as they know the idea, they see the potential, then they will ask for the sweat equity. So you should basically, in your mind, you should definitely do your calculations about how much equity that you want to go give away, what is the value that they are going to bring it to the table. So, financial, legal, technology advisors, business management advisor, you basically get these people, and then the bottom is obviously the development for resources, right? So you identify those people. Usually you have to identify, should I go the development in here or offshore? What is my cost benefit analysis? Where do I save the cost? Being the founders, you have to be very stingy about money, not stinky about money, but stingy about money, and you should be very careful about every single penny that you are spending, whether it is yours or investors, right? So, doing all of that is very, very important. So, those are the first thing. Create a framework, right, about the legal framework, the financial framework, and then the technology frameworks. Once you create these three frameworks, then you would be able to basically start your journey. At the beginning, you have to do every single thing. You are the architect of the company. You are the technologist. You are the marketing guy for your company. You are the sales guy for your company. So all of that is very, very important. So you need to learn all these traits. So that's what you need to do.
So when you build a team, what do you see? Like, uh, not just skills, of course, skills come first, but as a person, as a personality, what do you see when hiring any like employee or building a team?
Right. It's very tricky, and sometimes you may go wrong by choosing people. But as a startup, you should always look for a self motivator, right? Those people who wants to go beyond their, I would say, their limits, right? They should themselves be very, very passionate. They should have a zeal of doing something and proving their abilities. They shouldn't be thinking about, hey, if I work 2 hours more, then I'll get, X amount of dollars more, right? If those kind of people that you hire to begin with, you would often end up into the wrong team. So, because a startup is like a 24/7 kind of a job, right? Because you are constantly going. There is no 9 to 5. There is no clock to be set with the startup. So you have to basically always keep on going, and you need a team. At least the beginner team should be of your mindset, right? They should be able to stretch their limits along with you. So identifying those qualities, they should be self-motivator. They should be basically think out of the box kind of thing, because you are changing. Today you are developing one version of the product, and tomorrow you are going to trash it.
Right.
So just to give you an idea about Claim Genius, this must be our probably 15th or 16th version that market is seeing. Of course, 10 versions we have scrapped internally because something that we didn't like, something did not work, something we anticipated. So you need to have that, people's mindset, who would be ready to fail and then again, take a leap. So identifying those qualities is very, very important.
Share some experience from your initial days. Like, how was your first day at Claim Genius?
I was confused. A first day at a Claim Genius, I was very confused. The reason is, as I said, there is every single thing that you as a CEO you're doing, right? You're finding the legalities, you're finding the financials, you're finding the traits about the technology architecture, you are writing the specs, requirements for your product. You're thinking of hiring people, you're thinking of, so I was confused. I'm like, what should I pick up as a first thing, right? And then you have to prioritize what is the most important thing that obviously you have to have a legalities and other formalities to be done. So then I closely worked with my financial and legal advisor. I gave him a time limit saying that, hey, within a week I need to make sure that I have the legal framework to work with, right? So a prioritization is very important. And then managing your schedule is very important, right? So basically, I used to do very early in the morning. I will basically do all the administrative kind of work where I don't have a dependency on the external people. Then I would basically talk to the technology team for about 2 3 hours. And so I used to basically put my calendar with a different call it as a vertical, for building engineers. So first day was very confusing, and then after a week, it kind of streamlined and it got into the rhythm. But still, it takes at least a month to maybe more in some cases to get into the rhythm.
Streamline it.
Yeah, because you are juggling a lot of balls, right?
Yeah. As a CEO, what is your leadership philosophy?
Well, as a CEO, I would say listen more, speak less, right? Which is opposed to what I'm doing right now. But if you see me executing or my day-to-day operations, then you would see me as a listener, right? Because you need to basically let people share their ideas, let people fail as well, right? Unless and until you give them an opportunity to prove themselves, they are not going to basically straighten themselves up. So as a CEO, as a leader, you need to basically have these, everybody share their ideas and choose the best one, right? If somebody says that my idea is the best, that should be first thrown out. Um, when somebody says, hey, this is something, it is very impossible that I think it can be done, but something this is going to be very valuable, then I'm interested to listen to that because he himself is saying that it is impossible, but there is a value to it, right? So you have to basically listen a lot and then make the right decision, makings at the right time. So as a CEO, that's what you need to do, and then let people grow, let people, prove their leaderships, let them fail, hold them up, motivate them, and those are the kind of qualities you cannot, be trashing everybody and all the time because then there is no. If your team is low motivated team, you would not be able to deliver. So of course you have to ask very hard questions at a times. It should be very very pointy questions, but those pointy questions kind of pull people up as well because their egos, you are challenging their egos, right? So those are the kind of things you need to be, I would say, genius in our case to identify all of those kind of timings, the qualities, and then challenging them at the right time.
You have your office in US and back in India too, right?
Yes.
How do you manage team? Like, do you see any difference in both the countries, operations in both the countries, or
Yes, absolutely. There is a cultural difference, right? Of course, both countries operates on a professional ethics, and but still there are some cultural differences that comes in the way that it operates in India versus it operates in here. There is a here I would say people are more concerned about work-life balance. In India, people stretch their limits, right? But at the same time, as a leader, you need to make sure that they do get their work-life balance as well. Um, Expectations in India and expectations are here. Professional ethics, I would say, sometimes. And again, I don't want to be blunt here, but sometimes you do not find professional ethics working with people outside of US, right? So you need to be very careful, and you need to be aware of both the cultures, corporate culture, and the actual, I would say the geographical culture, so to call. You have to be aware of that, and you have to basically navigate through all of those differences. Uh, Plus, while operating it from here and having your team offshore, you need to have a right organization structure offshore. You need to have right managerial staff there. You need to have those managerial staff aligned with your vision and the goals. Then it is easy to basically run the global organization. But those are the things that you need to be watchful for.
How do you motivate your team?
As I said, sometimes you have to challenge their egos, right? And obviously, when they basically stretch themselves, you incentivize them, right? And that incentivization doesn't always mean rewarding them with more money, right? There is a recognition. You send them, put them in front of the customers, give them the credits in front of the customers, and at the same time, give them their space, give them their, freedom to implement certain ideas, even if you are not fully sold on that idea, and even if it may dent you monetarily at some time. Give them their space and give them some time to prove their ideas are right. When you give people a freedom and a space, they work more than putting a gun at their head. So those are the kind of some motivational tactics that you would need to do. And of course, they have to be self inspired as well to prove themselves.
What strategies do you use to grow your business? Like sales strategies, marketing strategies, like any strategies.
Yeah, so basically you have to continuously keep a tap on the market, right? The industry changes every single month, every single day. So you need to make sure that what is the market needs are and how their expectations are changing, and you need to make sure that you are providing and aligning your offerings with what their expectations are. So, for example, as I told you, right, when I was sharing this concept with one of the industry leader who kind of trashed that idea because there was a belief that AI cannot really do these things, cannot identify, the parts on the vehicle or damages on the vehicle and so on and so forth. But as they have seen the first initial versions of it, their expectations are now here. They're like, hey, we need a human like of an estimates to be generated by the AI. So you need to think ahead of them, and keep your innovations at least 3 to 5 years ahead, so that you would be able to align it. And those are and then I think the most important strategy that is working in our case is ethics, honesty, and integrity. You cannot, you should not oversell anything to your customer, right? Um, I think that is most important aspect that the customers looks for. Obviously, they look for what technology you are bringing, what changes or innovation that you are bringing, and what is the savings that you are bringing or efficiencies that you are bringing. What is their ROI? There, those are a very important factor. But how easy and how trustworthy this startup is to work with, that is very important, and equally important, I would say, as compared to the other aspect. And as a founder, as a CEO, that is one thing that I have told my team: do not oversell anything, do not overpromise, but over deliver. You know, so those are the those are the kind of things that you need to do
So
as a strategy.
how do you stay competitive and like how do you stay relevant in the industry? Like how do you research like what's going on?
Mm, right. So as I said, I mean, you have to stay ahead of the curve and stay ahead of the industry. Um I would cite an example of Tesla, right? Tesla is always 5 years ahead of the curve in terms of their innovation. So, being the first electric vehicle on the planet Earth, and other OEMs now are basically following the footstep. They made sure that they are using AI, they are using all these self-driving cars, and all of those things, technological things that I would say they already have in on their roadmap when they began the journey. Similarly, uh, at Claim Genius, we do the same thing. That hey, 5 years back, industry was not even believing that this can happen, but we stayed ahead of the curve. Now we are able to provide them, what they are looking for to start with. Then there are many other, right? They will be thinking of, hey, now this is possible. Then how do I eliminate the fraud? Right? Oh, you're giving me the external damage. How do I give them the diagnostic, right? How do I basically do the telematics integration and give them more insight? So all of these things you have to basically, whatever the verticals that you're focused on, you need to continuously be in touch with the industry. You need to always think that hey, your product is not complete. It's right. The moment that you think that your product is complete and you're done. So you should be always think ahead of the curve and continuously out of the box to make sure that you are continuously innovating your roadmap, and that's what the industry looks for. So that should be the innovation strategy that you have.
Yeah, that's a good point that your company is not your product is not complete. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Any significant milestones you want to share?
Um,
Yes.
I mean, you mean to say any significant milestone that a founder should put in, or are milestones that you're asking
The
about?
milestone that you have achieved already.
No, okay.
As
So our milestone,
as
yeah,
claim.
yeah. So right, as a claim engineers, right. So our milestones were, I mean, we always had, the product, first version of the product, first version of the pilot, first version of the customers to onboard, first US customers, first outside of US customer. So there are many milestones that we already had planned, and of course, some milestones we met. I would say a very first milestone that um, we met where the industry was looking for certain accuracies. We hit those accuracies, and we were able to basically compare our estimates with the human estimate, and those were very, very accurate. That was a very first milestone. That kind of an started our journey about getting the customers onboarded, right? So today we are working with customers in US, in India, in South Africa, and all that. So but that first customer, getting the first customer started on, is the most important milestone, I would say, because that is going to give you the boost. um, you know and then obviously you should have a milestone about certain percentage of the market you should capture, right? So as a matter of fact, if I give an example, India, 50% of the market is using our product now. That's a big milestone. So those are the kind of an accomplishment that we think is, we are successful in our journey, and there is a long way to go, of course. But you have to have those kind of a milestone which we started accomplishing after we came out of our stealth mode in 2022.
That was my next question. How did you find your first customer? Like, how did you pitch them? Like, what were
Right.
what was going on in your mind when you pitched them?
Right. So when I say you need to get your product market fit, obviously you are talking to some industry expert who works for some big corporation. So our first customer, I mean, we were lucky that the people that I was interacting with, they were the decision makers in those companies, and I gave them a free offer. Hey, you give me the data, I'll give you the product. We'll prove it together, and that's how the deal that you need to make. So I was lucky that whom I shared my concepts, they are the first customers who onboarded and who started using our product. So we were lucky, and then of course they provide the reference to the other customers, and of course you need to do the lead gen. You have to have the right salespeople and all that, and focus on the right prospect. But that first customer in our case was our, I would say, validator or advisor to to certify our product as a product market fit.
What advice would you give to aspiring business owners, especially tech company owners?
As I said, you have to be very, very dead sure about or confident in your own vision, and you should not doubt or regret, what you're doing. I think that is the very, very first thing, and the most important aspect in my case, as I said earlier, is ethics, honesty, integrity. Be very honest with your customer. Your journey will be very, very easy, and do not fear about the failures. Right? Failures are going to be the part of your journey. Unless you fail, you would not get the motivation to prove yourself. So make sure that you rise up even after certain failures, and whenever you are stumbled against a wall, there is always a solution. So try to think out of the box and make sure that you have right people, that you identify, because a CEO's job, I think, is identifying the right people. So you need to identify those right people who would be along with your journey and share your mindset and wavelength. At least at the top level, you should have that team who share your vision. So those are the things.
How has Claim Genius evolved you as a person?
Uh, I mean, you know me for a long time now, right? So you know my personality. Um, as a claim genius, what evolved me, I think, again, you can validate that. Uh, but I think I became more composed. Um, I started listening more than talking more, except this kind of a podcast or the webinars or the panels where I have to speak. But I think I would say that that is what I would define as I evolved. I became more composed.
That's nice. Tell us about Claim Genius' future plans. Where do you want to see Claim Genius in the next 5 years, 10 years?
Right. So I mean, every founder wants to have their company as an unicorn and, IPO. And so obviously those are the financial milestones but as a vision, I want Claim Genius to be the market leader into the claims industry as an AI claims industry. Today we have just got our passenger vehicle or four wheelers product out. Our next, basically, what we are embarking is on getting into the two wheelers, the properties, the commercial line of vehicles. So basically, vertically focused onto the AI claims and be the number one company into the claims industry, but and then horizontally spread across the P&C industry. That's the kind of vision that I am, and obviously that is going to basically take it to, obviously it is going to be a unicorn when you are basically having that kind of vision. So that's the vision.
That's amazing. Like, good luck for your future, and I'm sure this is going to be a unicorn.
No, thank you so much for those wishes. And yes, absolutely, we'll be ringing the bell at Nasdaq at some point. As I told you, right? I mean, uh, I was head of technology for Nasdaq's, huge business unit, and the very first interview that if you go on, YouTube or on our site, a very first interview that was shot at Nasdaq studio as a disruptive company. So I'm sure that we'll be ringing the bell at Nasdaq's, sometime soon.
Nice, nice. I'll put the link in the description so our viewers can also watch the very first interview.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So thank you, Raj.
No, thanks, Gayatri. Thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast, and I also wish you all the best for your podcast and the channels. And I hope um, this will help some of the budding entrepreneurs who wants to take this journey.
Of course, it will definitely help. Like, we got lots of not lot we I gained lots of insight knowledge today. So of course our viewers will also like it.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad that you found it beneficial.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you again.
Thank you, Gayatri.